This show's hitting on all cylinders. I know. I'm so excited. I'm excited for it. I know exactly why you're excited, and I'm excited for the same thing.
Yes.
So right on. What's up, my know-it-alls? It's time for Andor. That's right. We talked a little bit about the show last week, and we were really excited for where they were going, and we got to see the heist, and we got what we wanted. So here we go. Let's talk about some Andor.
What?
I almost want to jump right into my score because I'm pretty excited. This was an amazing episode. This was amazing. They outline so many things, and they get you from point A to point B. There are
Without any hesitation.
There's ups, there's downs, there's
fencing, fighting, torture, revenge.
Yeah, no, I liked this. This show was it's everything I want this show to be. Andor is doing the Lord's work in terms of to me, this is an excellent successor to Mandalorian. By that I just mean how good it is.
Yes.
The Mandalorian has so far, over a couple of seasons, told an amazing story. This show is telling an amazing story, and the fact that after you get to so many, once you go this distance, the intention very much that it's been reported is to butt right up to Rogue One. I can see how they get there, very much.
Well, oh wait.
Go ahead, go.
I said, well, we talked about there's 24?
24
episodes.
Yeah.
And we think about some of the stuff that comes out on streaming now. They basically took 3 seasons and said, there it is.
Yeah, kind of put everything. Yeah, put it all
we
out
got
there.
24 out of we just finished a couple. Some were 9, some were 10.
Yeah.
So.
I'm excited, man. This is gonna be good. Let's dive a little bit deeper into it. So the episode starts with the group specifically having to face that it's time. They're ready. They got no more. There's no more waiting.
Practice.
There's no more practice. You're doing the thing, and so they go, and they're the entire setup is, and you meet the guy who's the commander of the entire place. He's a greasy, horrible guy, and he's got his family and whatnot, and his family apparently is very important to him, even if the rest of the place isn't. And he's very much he's talking with the lieutenant and the gentleman who we've been following this entire time. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, we're going to do this and that and the other. And he's very much it's very imperial in terms of how the place is being run. And so and dudes walking around getting other people, oh, you know what, go, it's okay, you can relax, go enjoy the show or whatever else. Also, come to find out, this is the last time the Empire intends to let the Adani do this ritual, which is come and see this thing. And you find out they used to have like 1,500 people who would come to this valley, and now they barely got 60. And and he explains the Empire's mentality. And meanwhile, but along this entire pathway, they've set up, at least the pathway for the entire place, places to buy things, places to stay, this and that. They've essentially whittled everybody down by giving them what they want, which in turn gives the Empire what they want and puts everyone into a stranglehold.
Right.
It's a very particular set of situations that they've orchestrated for this purpose. Meanwhile, the whole thing is that the lieutenant had to bring up help from another outpost. And that's who Cassian and those guys, our rebel guys, are supposed to be. They're supposed to be that help. Mm-hmm. So this way, it's not weird that nobody recognizes them because they work somewhere else. They don't work here at this particular base, which makes a lot of sense. And so yeah, they start, and once
it's fast paced too. I felt like it's like there all that tension beating. Even when the episode starts, all this tension like builds up, and then there we go.
You're into it. And so this entire thing very much is a series of, I want to say series of bad choices, because they're not bad choices. But, at the end of the day, you've got the actor who plays Cassian, Diego Luna. He's carrying this show and doing amazing. And what's great is you get a moment. You get the moment. We're already in spoiler territory, so I'm not worried about it. You get the moment that I said was going to happen, which is where you get to see him be the Cassian we know from Rogue One. So I believe he's already there.
Yeah, and I think you see that in that episode. It's not so well. No,
he makes that
because he made a couple of those calls already.
Well, I'm saying you see him being this guy. He's already there.
I think maybe that. No, I think that the defining moment was with.
You think that was when it happened with Skeen?
Yeah, Skeen. I couldn't remember. I was going to call him Skeeter.
So they managed to, as this whole she's right. The whole thing slams into high gear very quickly. One of the things they do is they take out the sound, they take out the audio from all the other channels except the one channel. And so the tower's like, we have no signals, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. They all believe, and they're hoping that before anyone has actual time to do anything about it, everyone's going to assume that it's this meteor shower eye thing that's happening in the sky. And so they're barreling toward that is what's happening. That's why. Which enables them to, not secretly, but go through and get to where they need to get. Eventually, they hold they hold dude prisoner, and they're very fast in taking the commandant, the guy who's the head guy, him and his family hostage, and they're very flat out like, listen, we can all live, just do what we tell you, and they're committed to. We don't want this to go south, but we're willing to if it does. And so they go, and he takes them down. The vault is going to require certain things. They don't care. They've got the ability to blast it out, and they do, and they get into the thing. Now they're stuck with there were guys down there, by the way, in the vault area. People assigned there. So now you have this group has tried. They come in and they're flat out like, we got to load these things. Let's go. And this whole bit, and it's high tension because now the audio people are like, hey, I don't hear what's going on, and the other towers trying to communicate. They're like, we don't have any help. We don't have any hear from you guys. We're going to send a squadron to check on you. So time's of the essence. You only have so many minutes, and they know what these time frames are. Again, I'm talking very fast and a lot because that's how this was all coming at you. It's just flying.
I'll let you breathe for a second.
Yeah, please.
There were some points where I forgot we are watching a hour long or 45-minute long program. I thought we were watching a movie.
Really?
Because you were into this episode, and yeah,
it was so intense. And so they managed to they lose the first guy because they're being so those people from upstairs, the ones I told you about, the audio engineer and all this other stuff, he gets a group, grabs them and comes down. The emergency group comes down. So they're on a catwalk above everybody, and they're like, what's going on? And they're still trying to play it off. They're like, everybody shut up and just tell. And so they're going and they're moving stuff, and dude's coming down the stairs. It goes off. And the first shot goes off, and
that's when it breaks.
Everybody's shooting. It's back and forth. The kid's hiding behind some stuff. You got the other guy, the more seasoned guy, who's was leading the little marching dudes. The other black rebel, I can't remember his name right this second, but he's sitting there. Him and Skeen get pinned down at one point.
Yep.
And Skeen, he's like, cover me, and so he jumps out and he's trying to run and do something. Skeen covers him for all of 2 shots and then backs off.
Dude, and you see him back off, and you're like,
dude gets shot, and we're just like, oh, you slimy coward. I'll come back to that. So then Cassian's finally he's like, we gotta go. I don't care. Get on now. We're leaving. And sure enough, he does the thing, unlocks the little grippy thing we talked about last week, and they take off, and the ship is in the air. Once it's in the air, you have a squadron of TIE fighters that are on the way.
That was another thing. You get to see how they get into the TIE fighters. It's not just so much like them getting in, it's buttons and knobs and this and that and the other. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Because you never get to see that. You only saw that with the X. And
this little catwalky thing that they kind of slide down into like it's a little, almost remind me of Voltron. In a weird way. But like they're running across the catwalk, and they get to and they slide in, and sure enough, they're unhooking. It's like when they're going.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, man. And so the TIE fighters are having trouble taking, which is exactly what they had intended because of all the space stuff happening. The meteors, all the meteors are going across the sky, and the way they're crossing the sky, they're cutting through the atmosphere, thus creating this wonderfully glorious,
beautiful colors,
this light show looking thing.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they're all continuing to space. So in the middle, there is what looks like an eye. That's where
that's why they call it the eye,
because it looks like your eyeball. And so they're headed, and because of how hard they had to slam out of the place, a giant thing of a rack of gold, whatever the heck, slams into the kid, paralyzing him almost immediately. And but he's the only one who knows the codes and the stuff for getting out, the ups and downs and everything. So and he's very much for the cause. So he's like through it all. He's like, go get me to the thing, and he starts reading off where to go and what the coordinates are. That's all Cassian needed. So they go. They manage to finally escape, and they get to where they're going to be holed up, and they insist on They had a doctor built in as a contingency in case someone was injured. They insist on trying to help the kid. So they go, they stop at the doctor's place. There's only a handful of them left. And so it's literally Cassian, Skian, Vera, the girl? Vel, thank you. Oh, gosh. I'm not looking at my cheat sheet. Sorry. And the doctor guy. And so Cassian and Skian are outside. This is where slimy Skian comes in. He basically is like, hey, why, there's probably 80 million credits in there. I say we go 40-40, take the ship, and I know some place to hold up. And he's like, and Cassian almost has to repeat it. He's like, you want to betray them? You want to what? And he's like, look, man, you're like me. He's basically saying, since Cassian's a mercenary, doing it for money.
Yeah, this is okay.
And this is where we realize, okay, Cassian has no arc. Cassian is Cassian because he makes this choice, and it's the same kind of choice that we saw him making in Rogue One. He immediately whips his gun out, and he shoots the guy.
Like repeats it to make sure that
he understood it right.
Understood. Like, you sure that's what you want to say right now?
So you're gonna betray them. You're just gonna leave them. And he's like, yeah, whatever. I'm whatever, man. I'd rather be alive, and we all rebel in our own way. Mm-hmm. And he's twisting the words that we love so much from last time, which is, and you're like, oh yeah, but there's a wrong way to rebel, bro.
Yeah.
And betraying your people, nah, man, I'm not down. I'm not okay with that. And so, sure enough, and so I look at Mrs. Know-It-All, and I'm like, dude, I think I paused it, jumped off the bed because we right when we wake up, and I jumped off, and I'm like, he should walk right in with his gun in hand and say, I just had to kill dude. I'm not.
And this is why.
But this is because he was going to do you wrong. But here, I'm okay. And so he kind of does that.
Sort of.
And he walks, and but he's essentially saying, he's like, look, I'm just going to take the money I was promised, which is $200,000. Not even like $1 million anything. He's like, I'm just going to take it, and I'm going to leave you your stuff, and I'm going to go. I'm going to take that ship. I'll pay him for the ship. He's literally trying to set the whole thing up. Like, can we just go? I'm tired of this. Then we cut. Now, at the same time all this is going on, there's other storylines in play. Mon Mothma, that whole thing. Mm-hmm. And what you have is Mon Mothma is in the middle of the Senate chamber. A very conspicuously empty Senate chamber. Like, we're talking, do you remember from episode 1 and like the prequel trilogy? That Senate chamber was maxed out. People everywhere. There's maybe a couple of hundred, if that. Yeah. And as she's talking, because she's in the middle of trying to whatever, like we do on our Senate floor, she's talking about some legislation she wants to put forward. She's noticing people are like looking at their pads and then suddenly talking and then leaving.
And then walking out, yeah.
So she's like, what's going on? And she picks up the thing only to see already this heist is getting major attention. The other thing that happens, we cut to the intelligence group who've all been called in, and he says, the leader guy's like, don't get comfortable. I want everybody's projections for a response of blah, 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 blah. Essentially the same stuff.
That she wanted to do. What was her name?
That Chickie was talking about. Is that,
that's her.
Dedra Miro, played by Denise Go. Denise Go plays Dedra Miro. So Dedra Miro she's the intelligence officer who last week was like, if I was going to start a rebellion.
I would do it. That's how I would do it.
Okay. So she's like, she's like, oh, you mean the thing that I was speculating about?
That I warned you about?
Yeah. Oh, dude. And I'm just like, yeah, honey, you stick it to them because they weren't listening. Jerks. Yeah, totally. So so this is huge. And then the episode ends the best, in my opinion, which is our boy, who is Luthen, is in his shop, in his day job, And you start hearing stuff going on, and this one guy who's sitting in his place is like, do you have any Adani artifacts? And he's like, I'm sorry? He's like, yeah, apparently it's all over the news. Like, there's this whole rebellion thing, blah, blah, blah. The Adani, I bet like Adani culture is going to be very relevant soon. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, I'll have to go take a look. And he walks him back, and he turns around and is like, he's basically doing the equivalent of and he's all like, and he's smiling, and it's so smile. It's so genuine.
Yeah.
And I looked at Mrs. Owen and I said, "You remember the first time we saw him smile? It was like someone with an effort to remember. Like this took no effort because he is so elated that the mission happened and was successful. Because remember, we learned last week through Mon Mothma and his interchange, money is the big issue. They need the financing. The rebellion needs money." Right. To move forward, because you learn in the sequel trilogies that there's arms dealers all over on both sides. So the rebellion needs to be able to buy weapons and equipment and things of that nature, as well as be able to fund a lot of what they're doing at this stage, because it's not a cause yet. Right now, it's just it's a couple of groups who are trying once, and they're still putting it all together. It's kind of like they're
trying to unite.
Right, it's all coming together.
They're trying to put it all together.
This episode, man, I was buzzing. I was like,
I guess.
It was so
here's
good.
the thing. Just recapping it, showing our excitement is not doing this episode any justice at all. Just go watch it.
Absolutely. No, for sure.
Because there's nothing more I don't think we could say.
I don't think so either.
For it to come across like this was, the only best way to say it would be.
You know what? So there you go. Now you know. If knowing is half the battle, you're halfway to being a know-it-all yourself. You know how we're going to tell you how good this episode was?
Ready?
What's your know-it-all index for you?
10.
10, baby. Same. 10. This is the first 10 for Andor. Probably the first 10 in a while. In general, for shows we've been watching.
This is the
10
first
out of
time
10, bro.
10.
What makes it a 10 out of 10? I find no flaws. The story's tight. They're keeping us engaged at the right places. It moves the right clip. You get everything you want, from the right tension points to the people acting and doing what they're supposed to be doing. I feel like we're on an amazing journey, and like she said, this is movie quality, man.
That's what made me give it a 10. Again, you couldn't find anything technical, and I thought it was a movie.
Yeah.
Well, not just that. We also said when it was over, the episode, we're like, oh. I want more.
So it continues what I feel is the tradition of every 3 episodes being a movie, because episodes 1, 2, and 3, I believe, tell a complete story, and now episodes 4, 5, and 6 tell a complete story. I believe you can jump in and watch any of those 3 so far. I don't know if that's going to be the way it continues forward. We'll know next week if it starts something new.
If that's possible. That's sure. eight little short stories.
I'm down, man. Yeah. That's awesome. I'm excited for this. So, yeah, man, comment below. Let us know what you thought. Are you hyped up for Andor? Sorry we're late with this week's episode, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of things happening, and we're just trying to kind of make those, but I'm doing my best to commit to keeping this show going at the pace it's been going at. You guys have been so supportive. Thank you so much for watching. Please share the videos. It helps us in the algorithms. Also, only about 16% of the people who watch our videos are actually subscribed. Subscribing and commenting and just engaging with the community, the Know-It-All Nation, come on, is really what helps grow this channel. And it's more than just numbers and facts and all this stuff. I would genuinely love to take the opportunity to commit to this to you guys as a career move and as moving forward in the future. And that only helps if we grow this channel. So thank you guys so much. It's your community to build. Let's do it together. Andor's awesome. I can't wait to talk more about it with you next week. Never forget,
everyone loves a know-it-all.
Boom. See you then.
Bye.
Bye-bye.